Hi everyone, and welcome to the September subscription box from Mindful Crafts. This month we are going to be working on a crochet project, which is a lovely project if you haven't done crochet before, because we're only going to be using 2 stitches, and you're going to be making one of these lovely baskets, which this one has been used as a plant pot holder, but you can use them as little storage baskets in the kitchen, in the lounge, in the bedroom, in the bathroom, anywhere you can think of where you need to keep things nice and tidy. These are a great little project to start off with. So I'm going to be going through step by step exactly how, first of all, to do each stitch, but then how to create the basket. And I'm just going to go through what is included in this month's box. So we've got the Bobbin Yarn again. This month we are using the braided yarn. So if you had the August box for the rainbow, you will have had the single twist macrame cord in there. But this is the braided cord. Now, this can be used for macrame, but it's also great for crochet, which is why I've included it in this box. It's 100% cotton, recycled, so it's a sustainable craft that we're doing. And it's called braided because if you can see that, well, you've got your box as well in front of you. It's almost like a lace. Okay, so it's different to the single twist that we used because this, it doesn't fray. Okay, so whereas we fringed the ends of the previous project, this month this cord doesn't fray. You know, it's got a few loose fibres at the beginning, but it won't brush out or it won't fray, so it's really easy to work with. So you have got in your box, you've either got the steel, which is this colour, you've either got natural, or you've got the sand, which is like a beigey colour. Okay, and we've got the 5mm cord because it's a nice chunky project. So we've got that in the box. You've also got your crochet hook, obviously needed for this project. And again, this one's made from wood. It's a bamboo crochet hook by, here's the box, here's by from Knit Pro, which again, I really like the Knit Pro hooks for when I'm working. And they're nice to hold, they're soft. They're nice and smooth to work with, so they're quite easy on your hands when you're working. So we've got the 10mm one for the cord that we're using. Okay, and if you look on the back of the cord, just like if you're doing any other crochet project, here it tells you if you're knitting or crocheting that you can use between an 8 or a 10mm hook or knitting needle. Okay, so I've gone for the 10mm for this project, just again to make it a bit chunkier. Okay, but if you hadn't got one, then you can use an 8, 9 or a 10. Okay, so we've got the 10mm hook, and then your little surprise gift this month are these fabulous little stitch markers. Now these are from another little independent called Yarn and Craft, and she makes all of her stitch markers. So again, if you haven't done crochet before, these are a lifesaver, especially for a project like this one. When we're going to be working in the round, we're going to need to know where we started each round. And these, they're just really nice and pretty. There are lots of different designs, so some of you might have ones like this, some of you might have, well, you will have different colours. Okay, so they're great, and once you use them for this project, you'll be using them again for all of your other crochet projects. Okay, so we've got that, and then our bonus project for this month is a little coaster. Okay, so after the main project for the basket, I'll be showing you how we're going to make a little coaster that you can use again at the dining table or in the lounge, outside if you're sat having a coffee in the garden. So that's everything that's in the box. Get yourself comfy, grab yourself a cup of tea or coffee or a biscuit or two, make yourself comfortable, and then we will start. Okay, so I have got everything that I need. Got my crochet hook, and I'm just going to go through first of all how to work with the bobbiny cord, because for now you want to keep the label on. Okay, if you take this label off now, you've got 100 meters of cord here, so the chances are that you're going to get into a bit of a bobbiny mess. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how we can unloop the yarn without it getting tangled. So you will see that on one of the ends of the yarn you've got an end that has a knot. This is the end that we're going to start with. The other end, which is underneath the paper holder, has no knot. Okay, that's the end of the yarn. This is where we're going to begin. And all you're going to do is just keep this paper holder on, and you're just going to pull this out, and you can see it will pull out a bit at a time, and then the rest will be held securely in this wrapper. So the first thing to do is grab the end that has got the knot, and then just gently begin pulling it, and you'll see it coming out. So you've got a length to work with. Okay, so give yourself a good 2 or 3 meters to begin with. Okay, and then just put the rest by the side on the floor by you. So if you do that now, and then we'll start. Okay, so I've got everything ready, and what I am going to do now we've identified the end that's got the knot, I'm just going to undo that so it doesn't get in the way when we're working. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is show you how to create a slip knot that's going to go onto the crochet hook, and then I will show you how to make the chain that's going to be the centre of the basket. So if you are already an established crocheter, you may need to skip this bit if you want to go straight onto the project. But for those of you that have never picked up a crochet hook before, I'm going to go through it with you step by step. You can stop it, rewind this as many times as you need, watch it back, practice, and you'll get there. I promise, it just takes practice. I'm going to make it as easy as I possibly can for you. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to make a slip knot that we're going to attach this yarn to our hook with. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to pop my hook down there. Now this is the tail end of the yarn, and the long length that's going to the main ball of the yarn is our working yarn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dangle the tail over my finger. Okay, so I'm just using my pointy finger. So I'm just going to dangle the tail over there. Okay, and I've probably just got about 10 centimetres or so. And here, where my thumb is, I am going to bring the tail end of the yarn over to cross the yarn, and then I'm just going to hold that secure there with my thumb. Okay, so let me show you that again. So the tail is going to go over my pointy finger, and I'm going to bring it over to cross the yarn here and just hold it secure with my thumb. Okay, now hold that steady. Now in my other hand I've got the working yarn, so the yarn that's going to the main ball, and I'm going to take this round the back of my finger again, okay, and I'm then going to just lift my finger up and I'm going to hold that secure there now. Okay, so now I've got those two cords held securely with my finger. Now I'm going to take the first cord that we put around our finger, I'm going to bring this over the end of my fingertip, okay, and I've got my finger pointing out there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to replace my finger with the hook, and then I'm just going to pull that tight onto the hook, and there I've got my slip knot that has now attached my yarn to my hook. Okay, I'm going to take that off and I'll show you that once more. If you need to stop and rewind and pause and practice, do that now. Okay, so I've got my tail end over the back of my pointy finger here. Bring it across the cord and hold it securely with my thumb. You can see why we need to hold it securely, because otherwise it just pings off. Okay, so I've got that there. Now my working yarn, take that round the back of my finger, bring it underneath my thumb and hold them securely. So I've got the two loops on my thumb now, on my finger now, sorry. Then the first loop, I'm going to bring that over the tip of my finger, and then here I'm going to take my finger out and put my hook in that loop, and then just pull that so it's secure on my crochet hook. Okay, now note that I can move that slip knot securely up and down. Okay, the most common mistake people make when you're learning to crochet is that everything's too tight and then you can't get the hook through. Okay, so you want to make sure it's fairly loose, and that's another beauty about using a chunky yarn to begin with and a chunky hook, because we'll be able to see the stitches, we'll be able to see where we're working. Okay, so if you've got your slip knot on your hook, great. If you haven't, just have a practice until you are in that position. Okay. Okay, once you are in that position, then we're ready to make the little chain that we need to begin with. Okay, you will hear it called a foundation chain, because it's the foundation, it's the beginning of our project. Now for this project we're only going to be making a foundation chain of 4, okay, but in other projects, if you're doing blankets, you might have to make a foundation chain of 100. Okay, it really depends on what the project is. So this is how we make a foundation chain. First of all, we need to get into a position where we're holding our hook and yarn correctly so that we're in the right position to get going. So this is how I have been taught, and this is how I teach people when I'm teaching crochet. Okay, there are lots of different ways. I tend to hold my hook as if it's a knife, okay, but a lot of people might tend to use it as if they're, you know, writing with a pen. Okay, some people hold it like this, but I personally prefer to hold it as if I'm using a knife. You will just find which way becomes more comfortable for you. There's no right or wrong, it's just you'll find your own style. Okay, so I'm holding my hook as if it's a knife. My working yarn, so the yarn that's going to the ball, I'm just going to wrap around my little finger. Okay, and that just kind of keeps it secure, and it can act a bit of a brake. So if we're working, if you sort of like tighten that, it kind of puts a brake on your work. Okay, so we can do that, and then you want the rest of the working yarn to go up here over your pointy finger. Okay, so if I show you that again, so I'm going to wrap it around my little finger just once, and then I'm going to take it over my pointy finger. Now you might find at the beginning that your fingers might ache. It's just because you're using them in a different way than you might have previously. Okay, but bear with it. Right, then this bit here is kind of what holds the tension for our crochet work. All right, now sometimes you might find it a bit loose, especially when you're first learning, but the idea is you want to keep this bit quite tight. Okay, you'll see why in a moment. All right, so I'm going to get into my position again, wrap it around my little finger, take it over my pointy finger, and then I've got this little bit here. It's probably just about an inch and a half, and I'm keeping it tight. Okay, now at the moment I've got no control over the hook, so what I am going to do now is my middle finger and my thumb are going to just hold this tail yarn, which is close to the hook, and that means now I've got control over moving that loop up and down my crochet hook. All right, and I can move my hook, I can twist it, I can move it up and down, which is just what we want. If you're holding it too loose, okay, you'll find this becomes a bit baggy. If you're holding it too tight, you won't be able to move freely. Okay, so I know it sounds like a lot at the moment, but I think it's more explaining than actually when you're doing it, it's a lot easier. Okay, I'm just trying to explain it as easily as I can. Right, so we've got our hold. If you need to stop the video, pause, practice, that's absolutely fine. That's what the tutorials are for. Once you've done that, I'm going to show you how to make the chain. And we need here to use the hook part of the crochet hook to do the work for us. And this bit that we keep tense is where we're going to do the work. So to begin with, this hook, we want to face it away from us, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to face it away, and we're going to grab the yarn with it here. So this yarn is almost in that hook, okay? So the hook's facing away from me. I'm going to take it here. It's going to grab the yarn, and then what we do is it's called yarn over. So it is, as it suggests, you yarn over by bringing the hook round to the front. Okay, so let me show you that again. So I'm in the correct hold, my hook's facing away from me, grab the yarn, and then I'm going to twist the hook so it's going to come over from facing right to facing left. So there we go. Okay, so grab your yarn, yarn over, and we want to pull this yarn through this loop that's already on the hook. So we've yarned over, and then I'm just moving the hook and I'm going to pull it through that loop. Okay, and there we've got a new loop on our hook, and we've made our first chain. Okay, let me show you that again. So my hook is facing away from me. Grab your yarn over and pull through the loop that's on your hook. Okay, now this is where your tension comes into play. If it's too tight, you will struggle to pull the yarn through the loop. Okay, so all you need to do is just loosen that loop that's on your hook, and that will help you. Okay, so you can see that that is moving quite freely up and down, and you can make that loop bigger, but you just want to make it so that you can pull your hook through. Okay, so we're going to do that again. So my hook is facing away from me. Grab the yarn over, and then pull through the loop. Okay, so we keep going. Grab yarn over and pull through. Okay, and there you can see you are developing a foundation chain. So what you might want to do is stop here. Okay, you can take it all apart. This is called frogging, which is taking all the stitches out, and you might want to have a practice. Okay, so let me do that again. So I'm making my slip stitch. Okay, there's my slip stitch onto my hook. Get my hold correct. Okay, make sure my loop is fairly free on my crochet hook. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, now I've got a few chains. I'm just moving my thumb and finger closer to my hook again, just to give me more control. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, so that one was a little bit tight. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Okay, so have a little practice. Okay, and what we want to do is we want to have, to begin this project, let me get my hook back on, we want to have a foundation chain of 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if you need to practice that, stop, have a practice, and you need to have a foundation chain of 4. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're not counting the one that's on the hook, we're just counting the complete ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next part. Right, we've got our chain of 4, and we're now going to join this chain to make our foundation circle. Okay, so to do that, we are going to go into the first chain. Okay, we're going to go into there with our hook. So you've got 2 loops on your hook. Then we're going to grab our yarn and we're going to pull through that chain. So we've still got 2 loops on our hook, but this is a slip stitch. So we're going to pull this chain again through this. Okay, but this is a slip stitch. So we're going to pull this loop through this loop as well, so that we're left just with the one chain, the one loop on our hook, and we have joined this, so it now is a foundation circle. Okay, let me show you that again. So I'm going to take it out. So you will have your foundation chain of 4. So we're not counting the loop that's on the hook, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We are going to take our hook, put it through the first chain, grab our yarn over and pull through that first loop, and then carry on and pull it through the second loop. Okay, and there we have, if you pull this apart, there we go, you have got a foundation circle. Okay, and again, you might just want to wiggle it so that you can see your circle. All right, so you want to do that, and then we are going to chain here another 1. All right, so you've done your slip stitch to join your circle, and then you're going to chain 1. Okay, now this chain 1 is not going to count as anything. It's just purely to keep our circle flat. Okay, so now we're going to start making the first round of our circle. Okay, so this is the base of our basket. Okay, so we're going to be working in the round. So we've done our first chain. Okay, and you want to make sure that you can see the center of your circle. Okay, so that's where my finger is. Okay, and we are going to be making 6 double crochets in here. So if you're familiar with crochet, then carry on and do 6 double crochets. If you're not familiar with crochet and this is the first time, again, I'm going to do it slowly, step by step. I'll repeat it. You stop and pause and practice as much as you need to. That's absolutely fine. So we're going to go into that middle circle. Okay, so I've pulled my foundation circle apart just so you can see really clearly. So we're not going to put any yarn on our hook yet. We just want to put our hook through that center circle. Okay, and then we're going to grab the yarn. So yarn over, and we're going to pull it through that center circle. So now we've got 2 loops on our hook. Okay, that is the first part of a double crochet stitch. To complete the double crochet stitch, we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull through both of those stitches. Okay, and then we've got just 1 left on our hook, and that there is our first double crochet stitch. So I'm going to undo that and I'm going to show you again. Okay, so I did my foundation circle and I did a chain 1. Okay, and this chain 1 is important because it's going to keep the bottom flat. Okay, so make sure you can see the opening, the center of your circle. Okay, and if I just bring it a bit closer to the camera, okay, going to put your hook through that center circle, grab the yarn over and pull through that center circle. So you've got 2 loops on your hook. Okay, make sure they can both move freely so they're not too tight. Okay, and then you're going to grab the yarn again, yarn over and pull through both of those loops. all right, and that is your first double crochet. Now this is where our stitch marker is going to come in very useful, because particularly when we're working on a crochet in the round, we want to mark our first stitch. So I'm just going to hook that in my first stitch there. Right, so I've put my stitch marker in my first double crochet. Because we're working in the round, it's going to identify where we started so we can count the stitches as we go. Okay, so we did one double crochet into our foundation circle. We're going to do another 5. Okay, so exactly the same again. We're going to go through the center of our foundation circle, grab our yarn, yarn over, pull through that circle. So I've got 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. And I've now got my second double crochet. And what you can actually see is if you're counting stitches, it's easy to look on the side, because you can almost see like this chain, that's the first stitch, and then there, that chain is the second stitch. Okay, or you might think they look like V's, okay, which is they're often referred to as V's. Okay, so that's 2 double crochets. This little tail, just try and keep that out of the way because we're going to sew that in at the end. Okay, so I've got 1, 2 double crochets. So now through the center of my foundation circle again, grab my yarn, pull through, wiggle it so that they're not too tight, they can move freely. Grab my yarn, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. So now I've got 1, 2, 3 double crochets, and I want to do another 3. Okay, so go through the center, grab my yarn, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through the 2 loops, and I've now got 4 double crochets. So through the center, grab my yarn, pull through, my wiggle, grab my yarn, yarn over, pull through both. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I need 1 more double crochet. So I'm going through, grab my yarn, yarn over, pull through, grab my yarn, pull through 2. Okay, so now, and you can wiggle this around to make sure it's all flat. I've got my first one where I stitch marked it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that first round is complete now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my stitch marker out, and what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch to complete the round. So if you can see, I've put my hook through the top of my first double crochet. So I've got like those 2 loops there. Okay, I'm going to grab my yarn, yarn over, pull through there, but then I'm also going to pull through that loop, and then I'll pull them together, and that completes my first round and it keeps it nice and flat. So now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches in my first round. Okay, now this bit here you can pull tight and it will close that gap in the that we had in the middle. Okay, and then as I said, we're going to sew that in at the end to get rid of the ends. Okay, let's move on to round 2. So we're going to chain just 1 now, okay? We're not going to count it, it's just going to help keep the round flat. Okay, so now we are going to be working into, let me just show you with another hook. So I've got my hook here. We're going to be working into these V's, like these tops of the stitches. This is where we're going to be working. So you go through both parts of the stitch. Okay, so with your hook that's got your loop on it, you're going to go through the whole of the stitch and we're going to make another double crochet. So we're going to yarn over, pull through, so you've got 2 loops on your hook, and then you're going to grab your yarn over and pull through both of those loops. Now that's the first stitch for this round. So I'm going to, once again, use my funky new little stitch markers that you've got in your box, okay, to mark the first stitch of the round. Now for this round, we're going to do 2 stitches, 2 double crochets in each of the previous ones because we're going to be extending the circle. So that was 1 double crochet. Now I'm going to go back into here, so put my hook through there again, both parts of the stitch, grab my yarn over, pull through, so I've got my 2 loops on my hook. All right, then I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those loops. So now I've got 2 double crochets in that first stitch. So now I'm going to be going into the next stitch and I'm going to do 2 double crochets in here. Okay, so go through both loops, grab your yarn, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through. So that's 1 double crochet there. Go through the same again, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so as you can see now, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochets. So I'm going to do another 2 in here for 5, 6, another 2 in here, 7, 8, another 2 in here, 9, 10, and another 2 in here, which will be 11, 12. So for the end of this round, we will have 12 stitches. Okay, if you need to stop, practice, pause, go back, rewind, please do so. Okay, so I'm going to go through, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so I've got 2 stitches in that previous 1 stitch. Okay, let's have a go into the next one. So put your hook through, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2, double crochet complete. I need another one in here, yarn over, pull through. Okay, next one, I'm just going to go a bit quicker to complete this round. Okay, you'll get into a rhythm. Go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so now let's just check by counting these V's that we've got 12 stitches. I know we started here because I've got my stitch marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So I know that that round is complete, and I'm going to join it into my first stitch with a slip stitch again. So slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, and then carry on, pull through the last one. And now that round is complete, and we've got 12 stitches on the outside of our round. Okay, so at the moment, because we're making our circle bigger, we're going to keep adding extra stitches in each round. So for round 3, we're going to chain 1. It's not going to count as anything. Okay, but for this round, we're not going to do 2 in every single stitch. We're going to do 2 in the first stitch, so 2 double crochets in here, and then 1 double crochet. So we're extending in every other stitch this time. So 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet, 2 double, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 and 1. Okay, so by the time we've completed this round, we will have 18 stitches. So let me go through the beginning of that with you. So I've chained 1, which again, it just helps it keep our circle flat. And we're going to go through the V of the first stitch. So you've got both loops there. Yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now that's the first stitch of my round. So I'm going to mark where I've started. Okay, there we go. Now I need another double crochet in here. So go through, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So there I've got my 2 double crochets. In this next stitch, I'm just going to do 1 double crochet. So go through, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 in this next one. Go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Go through the stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, in the next I'm just going to do 1. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So we're going to complete this round by doing 2 double crochets, then 1 double crochet, 2 double crochets, 1 double crochet. So if you do that now until you get to your previous last stitch, check that you've got 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way around till we've got 18, and then we'll move on to round 4. There we go, we've completed round 3. and we've now got 18 stitches if you count the V's all the way around. And for round 4 we are again going to chain 1. That's not going to count as a stitch, it's just there to help keep it flat, as we know by now. And for this round we are going to do 2 double crochets in the first stitch, then we're going to do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So then in the next stitch we'll do 2 double crochets, then 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So it's 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So by the end of round 4 we will have 24 stitches, so we're increasing by 6 each time. So I've done my chain 1, so I'm going to go into the top of my first stitch of the previous round, yarn over, pull through, so I've got those 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 2. So, and as you've probably guessed by now, that's the first stitch of this round, so I'm going to stitch mark and I'm going to do my second double crochet in that stitch. So I've got 2 double crochets. Now I'm going to the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so that one's just going to have 1 double crochet, and the same as this, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so then we're going to have 2 double crochets, go through, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, go through, yarn over, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. I'm going to carry that repeat all the way round. So just a reminder, the repeat for round 4, 2 double crochets, 1, 1, 2 double crochets, 1, 1, 2 double crochets, 1, 1, all the way around. Do that and I'll meet you at the end. There we go, we've got our 24 stitches for round 4, and we're now going to do the final round for the base of the basket. So once again I'm going to chain 1 and we're going to work with a repeat this time of 2 double crochets in the first stitch, and then 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet. Okay, and so it's 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, and so on. So by the end of round 5 we will have 30 stitches around the outside of the basket. So I'm going to go into the first double crochet and make my first stitch. Once again, stitch mark that. So I've got 1, I need to make another one, 2 double crochets, there we go, and then I'm going to do 1, 1, 1 double crochet. So 1 into the next one, 1, and into the next one, 1. There we go. So in the next stitch I'm going to do 2 double crochets, 1, 1, 1. Okay, so you've got the idea. Continue that repeat until the last stitch, count that you've got 30, and then we'll start building the sides of the basket. Okay. Right, we have now completed the base of the basket and we're going to begin to bring the sides up. So how we're going to do that is using exactly the same stitch, the double crochet. There's no new stitches in this, but we are going to be working in what we call the back loop only. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So we're going to chain one again, and rather than go into both parts of the stitch as we were doing, okay, when you've got the two parts of the V on there, we are just going to be going into the back of the stitch, hence the term back loop only. Okay, so we're going to go through just the back loop, okay, yarn over, pull through. So you've got your 2 loops on your hook as you have done previously, yarn over and pull through. Okay, and what that is going to do is that is going to begin to stand our side of the basket up rather than carrying on flat. Oh, so I'm just going to stitch mark my first stitch. I should have trimmed my nails before I did this. There we go. And we're going to carry all the way around, not increasing. We're not increasing any stitches this time, so it's just going to be 1 in each stitch, but we're just going to go through the back loop, yarn over, pull through. So you've got your 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so there's the 2 parts. We're just going to go through the back loop. So here's the front loop underneath, here's the back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, now you won't notice much at the moment. Okay, it will become more apparent the further round we get, but you can see it's beginning to sort of like take a turn. So it's going to, rather than going flat, we're now going up. Okay, so here we are. So back loop only, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Go through the back loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so again you can now see that it's beginning to form the edge of the basket. All right, so we're going to carry on all the way around, go through the back loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, you can see it becomes a bit clearer as we go along. So carry on all the way around, and then I'll show you what we do once we get back to the end of the first round. Okay. Right, so we've got to the end of this round. So I'm going to take out my stitch marker, and we're going to complete the first round by where we've just taken that stitch marker out. Okay, so I'm going to go through both parts of that stitch, yarn over, pull through there, and then I'm also going to pull through this loop that was on my hook, and there we go. I've slip stitched to join that round. Okay, so now we're going to chain one again, and we're going to carry on by doing a regular double crochet this time. So I'm going to find my next stitch. I'm going to go through both parts for these rounds. Okay, it was only when we were making the side of the basket that we do the back loop only. For the rest of them, it's going to be going through both parts of the stitch. So yarn over, pull through, So you've got your 2 loops on your hook, then yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, and again, once again, I'm going to mark my first stitch of the round so I know where to finish. Okay, and we're going to continue. So go through, yarn over and pull through. So you've got your 2 loops, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, and you can see that this is now really beginning to define the edge of the basket. Okay, so you're going to work your way all the way around. So go through both parts of the stitch, yarn over, pull through, 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. Go through the next one, pull through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, so you carry on all the way around. Then when we get to the end, we're going to slip stitch to the last stitch on the first round, and we'll carry on from there. Okay, so once again, I slip stitched that round to join, and it might just be worth checking as well that you've still got your 30 stitches. Okay, so just by counting the tops, like the V's, so you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just check that you've still got 30, because then our basket is going to be nice and even. Okay, right, we are going to repeat that another 6 times. So we've got 2 rows of our basket so far. I'm going to start the 3rd row by chaining 1 again, and then going into the first stitch. Okay, remember this time now we're always working on through both parts of the stitch. Yarn over, pull through, so you've got 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, always mark your first stitch so you know where you're going to be ending, and then carry on all the way around. And this is where now, because we've been repeating the same stitch over and over, and you should be familiar with it more now, this is where it kind of crochet becomes really mindful, because it's relaxing, it's repetitive. You just get into a rhythm, and you kind of just get lost in what you're doing, really. So if you carry on now, this is round 3. You want to do round 3, round 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. Okay, and then when we get to the end of round 8 for the side of our basket, we'll stop, and I'll show you just how we're going to do the edging just to finish off, which is just with a slip stitch. So it's nothing new to learn, it's just by using the slip stitch. Okay, so I'll leave you to do that now, rows 3 to 8, and then we'll meet to finish it off. Okay, so there we go. We've completed all 8 rounds for the side of the basket, and I'm just going to show you how to finish off, just to make the top edging look a bit neater, and that is purely going to be by doing a slip stitch. So we're going to go into the first stitch, grab the yarn, pull through, but we're going to carry on and pull this first loop through the second loop on the hook. Okay, so we're going to slip stitch as we were, just joining each stitch on each round. Go through, pull through 2, pull through 1. Okay, go through, pull through 2, pull through 1. I just need to give it a bit of a wiggle. Pull through 2, pull through 1. Okay, and then what this does is you can see it's just beginning to give just a slightly different border to not match, but to be like a chain stitch all the way around the top. So go through. Okay, so you're going to do that all the way around to the first stitch, slip stitch it to the first stitch, and then we'll be done. Okay, so there we go, we've slip stitched all the way around, taken my stitch marker out, and all I'm going to do now is just trim, leaving about 10 centimetres. Okay, and then I'm going to pull that all the way through there, and then what we're going to do is just to hide this end cord and sew it in or weave it in. I'm just going to pull it through that stitch, and then what you can do, okay, is with a wool needle just pull that through like that, and then just simply go through a few of the stitches, pull that, turn it back on itself, just to secure the end. Okay, you never want to just cut the end of your yarn because it will just unravel. Okay, so you want to just go up and down a few times so that that's secure, and then you can trim off any excess. Okay, and there we go. There we have crocheted our storage basket. So you can just put your hands in, just manipulate it so it's all nice and shaped as you want it to, and then there you go. You can use it to store bits and pieces, use it as a plant pot. The possibilities are endless. If you wanted to make the basket bigger, as in wider, then you can just carry on with the rounds. So whereas we were increasing by 2 double crochets, then 1, 2 double crochets, then 2, 2 double crochets, 3, 2 double crochets and 4, then the next round, as the pattern suggests, it would be 2 double crochets and then 5, and then the next round would be 2 double crochets and then 6. Okay, so you can just make it bigger just by increasing the base of the basket. But if you've got any other questions about that, then please just drop me a message. So that's the main project of our September box complete. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to film how to make our little crochet coasters, and then you will be able to use those. So it'll be matching decor to your baskets, and there we go. Right, here's our little bonus project, which is a crochet coaster. These are great and probably only take about 10-15 minutes to do. They make really nice handmade gifts if you are thinking of different ideas for presents for Christmas or birthdays. But we're going to start off in exactly the same way as we did for our basket by making a slip knot. So tail end over the back of your finger, bring it over to cross, and then just hold it with your thumb. Then take the working yarn, around the back of your finger, bring it to hold with your thumb again, then bring the first loop that we'd got over your fingertip, and then we're going to replace our finger with our hook. Okay, and then just pull that so you've got it not too tight, not too loose, but you want to be able to move it up and down freely. Okay, so I've got my stitch marker ready again because we're going to be working in the round, and we're going to start off first of all by making our foundation chain, and we're going to do 4 again. 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, remember we don't count the one that's on the hook, but we're going to count these V's. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 chains, and we're now going to join it to make a foundation circle. So we're going to go in through the first chain, grab our yarn over and pull through, but then we're also going to pull through the other loop to slip stitch it, so we've now got our foundation circle. Okay, so just wiggle it so that you can find the centre of your foundation circle, because this is where we're going to be working into. Okay, now just as we did previously, we're going to chain 1. That's not going to count as a stitch. Okay, it's just going to help us keep our coaster flat. And for this project, I'm just going to teach you a new stitch. It's nothing too difficult. There's just an extra stage before we go through the foundation circle, and it's called a half treble crochet. Okay, so it's just a bit of a longer stitch than a double crochet, and to do that you're going to yarn over your hook before you go through the center hole. Okay, so I've yarned over. Now I'm going to go through the center like I did at the beginning of the basket. Yarn over, pull through. So I've got 3 loops on my hook. Okay, now with the half treble, when I yarn over this time, I'm going to pull that through all 3 loops on my hook, and that is our first half treble, which I'm going to stitch mark because we're working in the round again. There we go, to identify where I've started. And for this round we need 9 half double crochets. So yarn over again, put your hook through your center circle, grab your yarn over and pull through. So you've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull it through all of those 3 loops. So we've now got 1, 2 half treble crochets. Now in total for this round we want 9. Yarn over, go through the circle, yarn over, pull through. So I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, so that's 3 stitches so far. Yarn over, go through, yarn over, pull. So I've got 3 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, you might have to, just to keep it flat, you can just wiggle this around. Okay, so just wiggle. You can wiggle it just to keep it flat. Yarn over, go through all 3. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yarn over. That's 6. 7, 8 and 9. Okay, so I've got 9 half treble crochets now, and again, just to close this centre circle, there we go, I can just pull that tight, and now I'm going to slip stitch it to my first stitch. So go through, and there we go. So there's our first round of our little coaster complete. All right, so it should look like that, and we've got half treble crochets in this stitch. Okay, with this next round we're going to increase it just as we did when making the basket, but we're going to be increasing it with half treble crochets. So we're going to chain 1, okay, and remember we're going to go into the top of each stitch. So yarn over, go through the top of your previous stitch, yarn over, pull through, so you've got those 3 loops, and then yarn over, pull through 3. Okay, so let me just stitch mark my first stitch again, and we're going to do 2 half treble crochets in each stitch, so we will end up with 18 stitches for this round. So I've done 1, I'm going to go into that same stitch again, go through, and there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to move on to my next stitch. Yarn over, pull through, got 3 loops, and there we go. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and you're going to keep going all the way around, and then I'll meet you when we get back to the end. Okay, so there we go. We have got 18 stitches now, and because we're using a chunky 5mm cord, if we want to use this as a regular coaster for mugs, then we don't need to add any more rounds. Let me get my stitch marker out. It's big enough as it is now. If you wanted to make these into placemats, then you could carry on increasing each round as we did before. Now, notice this time that I haven't slip stitched to my first stitch, because what I'm going to do is, just to give it a nice border around the edge, I'm just going to slip stitch all the way around. So that's my first slip stitch, which I'm going to mark. Okay, and I'm just going to slip stitch into each round, into each stitch all the way around, just to give it a nice border. Okay, so if I do that, and then we will have a simple, quick and easy coaster. Great for presents, great if you've got a party or a special occasion coming up and you want some nice decor on your table or in your house. So again, possibilities are endless. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this month's subscription box. So we've had macrame last month, we've had crochet this month. I do plan to be trying different crafts each month, but if you would give any feedback or leave a review on our Facebook page or on our Google business page, then that would just be absolutely fantastic, because this is something that I'm really looking at trying to build upon. Okay, so I'm nearly there, and then all we're going to do at the end is cut off, cut off, leaving a little tail, and then as we did before, I'm just going to weave or sew in the ends with a wool needle, okay, to get rid of those. And there we go, you have got your crocheted coaster. Take my stitch marker out, okay, and there we go. Right, thanks for doing this. Right, thanks for joining this month's box, and I hope to see you again for the October subscription box. Okay, bye.